Welcome back, folks. This is lesson 51, and as promised on the last one about brushes, I thought we'd do a little bit of colour mixing this time and just see where we go. And I'm trying to provide you with some shortcuts apart from the usual mixes of like yellow and red gives you orange and sort of things like that, and just do some of the things that's a little bit more interesting. First of all, my palette, which is, in fact, at the end of this lesson, I'll show you a sheet including the colours of my palette. And this is what I've used. This palette, that's raw sienna, cadmium lemon, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, and that was raw umber, which I've dropped these days because I don't use it much. And that's the dirty brown colour, that's burnt umber. And there's some gouache, white gouache, which helps me sort of with a little more white bits I need. Then I've got light red. And then I've got Alizarin Crimson, lovely for sunsets and things like that. Cadmium red, Payne's grey. That's a cobalt blue, which is lovely for skies and that. Cobalt blue. Windsor blue green shade, which I don't use a lot, but I use it sometimes. And Windsor blue red shade, which I use quite a bit. And my favourite one there, which is a double palette, and like the burnt umber, is French ultramarine. It's because I use more of that, and then three in the corners there. There's my sort of sunshine, and there's my blue of the sky, or one of these, and then that plus that gives me a nice cloud colour. So that's explaining the little palette for you. But I'll put it in the sheet form at the end of the lesson for you. Now let's have a look at what we're going to do next. I think first thing we ought to explore is slight mixes for. Let's get some water for a start. I'm not doing a lot of this because I don't want to get bogged down in it. So first thing is I want to use that Windsor blue, introduced to that colour because it's quite a nice colour. But first of all, I want to show you what you'd use for a spring green. Like when the grasses and that come out in spring, it's got this vibrant freshness, hasn't it? So I usually start with some cadmium lemon, and then a touch of Windsor blue red shade into that, and that will give me what I call it a nice spring green. And I've got this piece of paper at the side here. I'm trying to show all the palette and this piece of paper, but I haven't got much room. But I'll show you sort of a spring green. That's sort of, it's a nice vibrant colour. It just looks a bit of that. It's vibrant, it's fresh, it's green, it's full of life, it's new. So that's what you get if you had some spring green. Now what about summer green? Summer green, this is you're in full summer here with all the trees in leaf and all the lush fields and that. So then the colour would change, and we'd use Windsor blue red shade, but the greens would be made up of the cadmium yellow. So I'd start with some of that, cadmium yellow, which is richer and warmer than that one. Let's just get a touch of blue into that. And don't put too much blue in it, or you'll kill it straight away. That's enough. Just a touch of that. You don't need too much. And then this gives you your summer green, which is lush and full of life, but it hasn't got that green freshness. This is your summer green. You'll find that most useful, that colour. And then of course in autumn, the greens start looking a bit tired. So we've got to make that green look tired. So if you use your raw sienna, put a bit there, just touch there, This pallet, by the way, I've had it for donkey's years. It's split and broken all over, held together by wood at the back, which was done by one of the joiners on a cruise ship. Let me get this done. And it's taken me around the world, and they're the colours I use all around the world. So I don't need any more. That's it. Right, that's the raw sienna. Now same again with the Windsor blue, red shade. So touch that into there, and you'll find that the bit more of that. I put too much blue into. You see, a bit more of that makes that grass more. It's tired. It's on its way. It's coming towards autumn, isn't it? So the grass starts to sort of lose its intensity, and it's nearly turning brown. The brown in the grass, and this is what the effect you get. And of course, in winter, it's really dead, and what we can do is just put a bit more. I'll put a bit more burnt sienna into that, and the grasses go more wintry. You know, see what we see in the winter. It's like it's the remains of the grass, isn't it? It's dead. And if I want to emphasise this, I mean, just get a rigger, and then I can just put some spring green stuff in that, and then the summer, put some summer green stuff in that, just flicky grasses on that, and the autumn, flicky. This is the rigger we talked about on our last lesson. Useful little brush. And then of course in winter we've got our nearly dead stuff, haven't we? Like this. And of course what you can do, I mean I'm talking, and I might go off a tangent at times here, so please bear with me. When you've got something like that, like these grasses coming up like that, what you can do is feather them on the top with a little rigger. Use the side of the rigger and just feather it on the top like that. So you see dead grasses with the little bits on the top hanging on top there. Hopefully that'll give you a little tip on that as well. Right, let's finish with grasses now. Just do a quick wipe of that lot to get rid of some rubbish. One thing I do is every time I've done a painting, I clean my palette, because I want it to be clean colours as I'm using, as I'm working on a new painting, anything new. But I will show you. You should have a thumbprint there, but put your thumb in that. But it's all broken off. But I don't use it much like that. But to show you the back of it, it's all held together by wood and glue. I mean, it only cost me about $2.50 in the first place. But it's got all the colours on there, and if I have to use a new one, all those colours I've lost, haven't I? Really. So being a Yorkshireman, I was going to repair that and stick to this one. So that's grass, or grass, whatever you like. The next thing I want to try is something that will give you ultramarine, which gives you a granulated sky. Now, what I mean by granulated, when you put it on the paper and that, it separates and leaves grain on there. It's a nice effect. Don't think it's gone wrong. It's just a lovely effect you get on that. So well, I can try a bit on this side here. This. So a bit of Windsor blue. Not Windsor blue I'm talking about. It's the French ultra. Let's put a touch of French ultra. This is French ultra. This one here. Lovely blue it is. But when I put it on like this, it's the paper. It's a smooth paper I've got here, but it does granulate that. And of course, if that's there, I can also introduce something into it like that. You know, the raw sienna we've talked about. That's that one. A touch of that into that. That will give me some sunshine in that. So it was unique in the sky or something. And if I added a touch of this burnt umber in this corner into this mix here, you'll see it changing colour. Change it into a nice grey colour, and that would give you something, some cloud effect like that. You see. And that's just through adding little bits of 3 colours together, and you've got something like that. And of course, if you wanted some, let's say a bit of distant landscape, you can just put this sort of thing in the bottom of it like that, you see. And if you want to introduce Alizarin Crimson into the sky, which is another lovely colour, you can introduce that into the base of the sky, like that. You strengthen the dark in that if you want. You even put that, the ultramarine and the burnt umber together, and you get a different type of depth or distant colour, just to give you some more distant hills or wherever it is in the distance. So that's how our French ultramarine will give you grainy skies, and say a little alizarin in there. It's more delicate grey. Add burnt umber, which it is up there. That basically gives you a range. I get a range of lovely greys from that, depending on how much the balance of the 2 colours together is. But you got to try these to sell too. But if you, with greys, you can get all sorts of put more burnt umber in there. That'll give you a grey colour, and just weaken it off with more water. You can get a sort of a, let's go down here. You can this sort of effect will give you a, say, imagine this is another sky. Say I've run out of room, but you can get that type of sky. It's hardly visible, but it's there, and it gives you not a pretty day, just a cloudy day. And then here again, you've got your cloud formation there. If I want to sort of make it a little bit heavier, just a bit more burnt umber into it, a bit more ultramarine into it, and this grey colour can be introduced into there, see, to make it different formations of cloud. And of course, and if I put some Alizarin Crimson into that, a bit more ultramarine. You've got to experiment yourself with this and see what you like. I can put sort of a distant landscape in just like this, just to show you where that's the sky, the moody sky above, not a sunny day, and there's your greenish moody sky like that. Or you get muted skies, things like that. Now, if we use but what about I do? Just change this around a bit. I'll move that across. Give me some more room, because I want to keep that palette in there so I can show you what I'm doing. The other blue, I've told you about the blue called cobalt blue. Now, cobalt blue is a lovely colour. Let's mix a touch of cobalt blue. I'll just lift that out a bit. Give me some clean palette there. Put some water on there, just clean water. Here's your cobalt blue, that one. That cobalt blue can go into there. It's a gorgeous colour. Now I can put that into a sky. Let's start across here. a weakness as it goes down. The brush I'm using by is one we talked about. Yes, it's just a number 8 because I'm just fiddling on. Well, I'm demonstrating, not fiddling on, but I'm just showing you what I mean. That's softened that there, but that mixed with a colour called light red. That's this one here. I put some light red into that. I can get a real moody grey sky out of that as well. Look, that coming across there into that changes the whole value of the day. It's you can see that there's some more rain coming on that. Just the light red and the what is it now? Cobalt. I'm getting old. I'm getting fiddly, losing my marbles. But that's on top of that. That will give you that grey colour. And there the bluey stuff comes down and gives you that lovely effect of blue. And that's just using those two colours. If I want to put a bit of land on the bottom like this, on that, if I add a bit more of this Alizarin Crimson into it, we should get a nice distant landscape, just sort of some hills or something like that. Just as it adds onto that. So that gives you some type of a quick effect on that. I'm going down my list because then I'm going to publish this at the end of the lesson for you. I'm going down my list, so I'm doing a check of it, see what we've got. That's good for moody skies. And then what we've got next. And the best shadow colour, what I call shadow colour, and because on every painting you've got, somewhere along the way there is shadows. So we need to make something that's going to be shadowy. And the colours I use on most paintings is French ultramarine and that's water as well. So they put the French ultramarine in first, and then to get a nice shadowy colour, a touch of burnt umber into that, not as much as the blue. And you'll find out it'll take the heat out of the blue and give you a nice shadow colour. So let's say we had pick a brush, a small brush. Let's say we had I've been using light red there. I'll just borrow a bit of that. To get what I'm trying to make a effect for you. This is light red. So if I got, let's say, a roof like that, and put that in. If this is a white building here, the way you can show the difference. I mean, it's white all round, but the shadow changes the colour, doesn't it? So this colour then, or we just mix the burnt umber and the French ultramarine, a touch of that on this side here. Would give you, that's the colour I want, the shade there. So that's shaded one side of the house. All right, for this side, so we haven't got anything to stop that. So well, let's stop that by putting a colour. I'll use some of this light red. I've got some here that's mixed. Yeah, what I can do, I can put a line down here. It could be sort of an autumny bush, which gives me the edge of the other edge of the cottage. So that gives you some idea of. I can put some of this cottage, this edgy stuff in here like this. See, whatever you do, things start happening, and then of course what you can do is the the colour they use on there, that's the French ultramarine and the burnt umber. If you just use a touch of that, using that still, that's in the brush we talked about yesterday. This is a small, I don't know what number it is, let's have a look. See it? 6mm in new money. And what you can do is just introduce a touch of colour into that. Just random. I mean, don't forget, we're not making a masterpiece here. We're just trying to do a demonstration. It's a one window up here like this. So if we had something like that, of course there'd be a shadow under the eaves there. And where the shadow is on that, that's the light's coming from there. You'd also get a little bit stronger colour. That's the burnt umber into this to make that, keep that colour darker. We'd also get sort of just a suggestion inside that door there. That's going to make that door darker, and on top of these things, you get a touch of that as well. But that's all I'm doing there is trying to show you that French ultramarine and burnt umber, which are both colours are transparent, by the way. So if you put it on top of a colour that's already there, it will still show the other colour below it, so you wouldn't lose it. So that's the best way of doing that. That's that one. And as I've said earlier, but this is cobalt blue. Just get rid of that. The distant hills and stuff like that, we need to sort of depict those really. There's certain combinations of colours you can use. You can use, say, Alizarin Crimson, which is a lovely colour, that, and mix that with some cobalt blue. And please bear with me, I'm not testing these colours, I'm going straight in, so if it looks a bit weird at times, I've got the colour mix wrong, because we don't get it right every time, you know. So say distant hills, let's say, we'll put it behind this if we can. Let's see what's... It's only a small cameo, this thing. So that would be... behind there like that. And then of course, if you wanted the sort of an effect, I'll do another type as well. That's cobalt and light red and ultramarine and Alizarin Crimson. That's our ultramarine colour. We'll put a touch of that in there. And our Alizarin Crimson, another lovely combination, this. We'll get some really high stuff in the distance here like this. In fact, what I would do, because it's so far away, I'd make it paler. This. And all you do to make it paler is just add a touch more water into it, and then that brings the colours down. But it's still, and it shows you further in distance. What it says, look, that hill there. Is more distant than this one here. This one comes down to this one down here. There's that house. So by tonal value at all, straight away, this one, the value of this one is stronger than that one, so immediately it tells the eye that one is closer than this one. That's just by adding more water and stuff like that. And this bit in between here, we can go over a bluey bit. This is the French ultramarine. And try and calm it down a little bit more. It's not doing it actually, so I'll just put a bit of blue on its own, just a touch. A bit of blue on its own. That will calm that down even further. But the shadow effect is there. That's the two colours I wanted to show you on that. And of course you can sort of put a twiddly bit of whatever you like in front of this. Well, I could have, if I left that greens on there, what we're working on, say, well, so we could say it looks like a summer, put a summer in, a bit of that cabin yellow, touch it, Wind's blue red shade into there. And we've got a nice summer green in the foreground, just like that. So it's just you decide what you want, when you want, and what part of the year you want. But that will just give you some effect that what I'm trying to suggest to you on colour mixing there. That's that bit. Let's have what we've got now. So I've got on my list. Well, light blue, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. This is good for brickwork and pantile roofs. So let's try that, shall we? So brickwork, we'll have a look at brickwork. So we've got the first colour was light red, that's this one here. The next colour was burnt sienna, which is this one here. Different colour, you see. But all useful little exercises for you, this. And the next one on that list is burnt umber. That's the dirty brown in the corner, which we like to use a lot. So that's a burnt umber in there as well. That's a different brown altogether. And this is for sort of brickwork or pantiles. Let's say for the first thing, well, I'm going to put a pantile roof, similar to this. If I can get this. These little flat brushes are handy for anything like this, aren't they? Of course, your pantile roofs a bit like that. If you get a small brush on that, you can get to pinch a bit of this dark up there and put. They're like on a curve like that, and they get a little bit of twiddly stuff on the bottom. Dark under there. In fact, I think we'll have a chimney, shall we? A chimney on that. And of course, these pantiles get these marks across them like this. I say it's just, but that's the kind of thing when you're doing a pantile roof. To go close up on it, you've got to. The pantile is a bit like that. As it comes down the roof. This is if you're doing a close-up. I mean, I don't suggest to you that you put everything as detailed as that. And of course, then you would, if you start going like this, you've got to put shadow in, which puts some dark on the underside of these things here. It's still wet, so it's running into it. I'm sorry about that, but I'm just trying to put across the principle of doing it. And in the bottom you get some really juicy darks in there. That's under there, under there. And then of course you get your ridge on top, don't you? It's a ridge tile, another ridge tile. And they generally all these, and the spar across the top, I don't know what they call it. These builders were going crazy at me because I don't know the name of it. The piece of wood that goes on the top, sometimes through age it distorts and stuff like that, and leaves you a lovely saggy roof, which is lovely. I don't suppose it's good for building, but it's good for painting, I'll tell you. It's lovely. Put a bit more colour into there. And while it's wet, I'm putting some of that ultramarine and burnt umber in, just to sort of make it a bit more oldie-worldy and take the B&Q look off it. Perhaps this is just a quick show you just on what's happening. It's not supposed to be anything perfect or anything like that. It's just to show you what's happening. But that gives you an idea of what's what with a pantile roof. Get some of these browns in here as well. And they'll be darks into it as well, and just get it darkened down, and because they're old, aren't they? Old barns and stuff like that. But that should give you some idea of what's happening. And in the bottom it's all where the holes are. Right, I've done that combination. I'm working my way down them. And I've got a palette that looks a bit scruffy, but not to worry. What I also should include in this is a bit of brickwork, because it's good for brickwork, all those colours I've just used. Let's see if I can pull this across a bit. Brickwork. So I've got a chisel brush or a little flat like this, and what we can do is put this sort of thing. Of course, when you're doing bricks, it won't not straight under each other, or they're offset. And then of course you get half of one there, won't you? So you've got to be careful and put half of one in, just there. That's the end of the wall. Put a bit of dark in there. That's the edge of the wall. Of course, if you like, with some of these colours, what you can do is put a sort of a coping stone on the top, which goes like this. We'll put dark on the underside of it. Of course, with the brush you'll get, so you've got to decide where the light's coming from. You get a shadow underneath each brick like that. Bear with me, it's all wet this, so I'm getting a bit of running on it, but not to worry. You're going to get the effect what I'm trying to tell you. I'm pinching a bit of that stuff what we got up there. And then so the sun's coming from the left, on that brick there, that brick there, that brick there. End of that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So the right hand side of each one of them, isn't it? And it makes the bricks look three-dimensional instead of just a flat block of colour. So this coping stone here, we'll put that on. Put some dark on the underside of that. and that will get I'll pinch a bit of that there. That's Payne's grey, by the way. I'm just going to put a edging stone on that one, and that one, that one, that one. Touch on the end there. But that's where I'm coming from. That's the idea. The colours makes a problem with this sheet for you, and it'll give you an idea of what type of colours to use for something like that. Now, a thin wash of raw sienna. Raw sienna. Thin wash of raw sienna. That's the one I use a lot. I'll just wash this colour out of here for a bit. I'll put some raw sienna. That's clean water. And then this is the raw sienna, which I used a lot of, just a touch of that. And although you might go by the river, especially in Norfolk, we get the Broads and all that, get all sorts of boats. But what the white sails, if you look at them, they're not really, they don't come across as white. So they come across as well. Let's move it across a bit. This. Bump down here. Nice bit of paper here, and what if I got sails on the boat, the colours would come across with like a raw sienna colour, just but very weak. It's not hardly any colour, but it's just showing it as sort of a suggestion of a sail there. You can hardly see it a bit on screen, but it's there, believe me. Of course, best thing I can do is put a bit of a hole on it, then you'll see it, won't you? I'll pinch a bit of this what I've got left up here. Yorkshireman in with that, you know, don't waste anything. Just put a bit of a just like that. And then, of course, I'm going to get bogged down a bit here. If you wanted to, I've got just a touch of that Payne's grey there, and you could put the it's all running into it. See, not to worry, but you get the idea what I'm trying to say, don't you? And of course, I'm not doing a picture shot, but what you would get on something like that, you get your water here, and you probably get a reflection on that as well. But I'm not into reflections today. I'm just doing sort of a suggestion of colours for white sails. That's what it is. That one. Look at that. And of course, when we're using these these colours down here, I hope you can see them. Can you? So let's see if you can see them. Yeah, these colours, I'll just move it up a bit. Yeah, when you're talking about these colours here, they're very good colours for a lot of the sails on the Broads and things like that are sort of light red or tan coloured, tan sails. And they look lovely to do, but you've got to have a colour to mix them, haven't you? And that light red is quite a nice colour to pick them spot on. It is. So we'll say this one is well, let's say a Thames barge or something like that. He's got something on it, put a bit of a sail on him. Not Thames barge, I'll just do a normal barge, a normal sailing boat. This is light red, this colour, and it shows the sails up lovely on this. And of course you've got a hole on the bottom. Better put a hole in, or I'll pinch a bit more of that again. Put a hole in there. But on these sails, some of this shadowy colour, what I've got up here, I've still got it on the palette. It's nice to give it some shade on this instead of just as though it just come out of B&Q. It's got a bit of age on it. And it makes that sail a bit more interesting than just a flat colour. All right, just a touch. Don't go mad. Just a touch like that. In fact, you could put in some burnt umber if you wanted to kill off that newness. And of course, obviously, you get some. I'm doing it, and I shouldn't do it. You get reflections down here, wouldn't you, of these sails? Not to worry. But stop that. Right, we'll go next. See what we've got on my list for it. And as I said, this list I'll publish it at the end, so you'll have a copy of it, so you can do it yourself. Yeah, the winter blue green shade is great for some areas of waves and things like that. So let's try and do something. Put across here. Let's see what we've got. These colours. I'll pinch a bit of space here. Deep water. Winter blue green shade. That's that one, you see. I know you'll not remember, but I've been doing this palette for years, and that's my green shade, winter blue green shade. That's that one, and it's a different colour to the blue shade, the red shade. Sorry, it's more cooler, so you can get some of that and suggest some wave formation like this, like. It comes over the top, doesn't it? And what you can add to this, which is nice, is cadmium lemon, just a touch of that. You do a little touch of that area, and that gives me that like a turquoisey colour. And of course, where the light gets behind it, this turquoisey colour comes into the wave, doesn't it? And what it doesn't look like a wave, but what just when I get to the base of the wave, it goes darker down here. See, you lose the depth, and then you can even make that darker by again some ultramarine and some burnt umber, and where the depth of the water is strongest, that'll go even darker as well. See down here. So it's all about these things. They go over the top, and then you get sort of a flurry of colour all around it, and some less clean. I'm just clean water on my brush now, and you can spread some of this colour all into the sea shape as it's going along like that. But these are just two colours there, which are really nice to introduce these colours to you to get this combination quickly of what you're trying to find for something in the sea. There's a bit more this lemon with that winter blue green shade in there. But that gives you some idea of what I'm talking about with waves and that. All right, we know that I'm not talking about perspective or things like that, because perspective, if I was doing perspective, what I'd do is with the waves they go something like this. Look, you start here, a bit of that, as they go into the distance. Then your next wave would be here, wouldn't it? But it goes smaller and narrower as it goes into the distance, because you're looking at it along the edge of it. The waves will come in. Of course, there's your rising across here, top of the sea. sky up above that, and you get these different colours in it, the turquoise and stuff like that. It's lovely just that when you see these scenes and blue green shade into that. Then you can have some of your blue shade, winter blue red shade into that. You get all these various colours into this mix of colours. It goes down to the waves and that, going away from you. But this is just introducing you to colour mixes. It's not masterpieces or anything like that. And that's it. And if you use winter blue red shade, I mean, I don't have a black on here, but if I use winter blue red shade, that's this one here, which is a lovely colour. I'll put some down here. It's a lovely rich blue. And then add some Payne's grey into it. Let's find some Payne's grey. This Payne's grey in between the red and the cobalt blue. Add some of that to it. I can get a really like a midnight blue on that. I'll just show you what I mean, the effect. See the colour of that? That's quite dark, that colour. And if with that colour there, if I mix a touch of Alizarin Crimson into that, it goes even darker. We can get that colour up. It's a different kind of dark. Just spend it's what you can get is a situation where you let's say you were doing a barn door or something like that, and they're not interesting things. The dark things, it's a dark thing. Let's say just like this. It's right, barn door. Anyway, it's something like the side pieces like that, and then the area of the barn door is quite dark. Let's put it to dark. These are a bit of this dark stuff here. There's a bit of dark on the edge. Put a lintel above it. I'm getting bogged down here. Be careful. Take the brush off me. I'm just going to depict a door of it. So if you get a bit of a door like that, you will find it comes across to a viewer. If you introduce some colour into that, instead of it just being a black, see you had some black on your palette, don't ever use that black to paint that door in like that. Always paint it with colours. Add a little Alizarin Crimson to some blue and stuff like that, and it gives the colour more interesting. In fact, you can then go with a touch of Alizarin Crimson on its own and just introduce it into it. And although you probably can't see that on this effect, but it takes the flatness of the actual door itself, and it looks like it could be not even the door. It could be the interior of the place, and you're looking into this interior and you're seeing darkness, because darkness is dark, isn't it, when it's dark? But it's more interesting if there's some interesting suggestion of colour into it. No matter what it is, as long as there's a bit of colour into it, it'll bring it to life for you. Put a bit of that light stuff in there and see. You might well see something like that in there. See, as long as it's not just kill. Don't kill the colour altogether. I don't know how long I've been talking. I've been rattling on here a bit. So look. I'm just trying to keep these little brief lessons for you. So I think this is, as I said, this is some ideas I've got off my sheet of colour mixing, which you'll find most useful, and it's a shortcut to get the things that you think, I wonder how I do that. It's there for you, ready, well, not ready mix, but ready suggested on what you can do. I mean, like sort of stuff like this. I'm on my palette again. I could sort of depict this a bit better because it's dried out a bit, you see. Just makes it a bit less B&Q. Nice dark blue there. Put that on the base of this here boat thing. And you can put the darks in anyway, you know, you get these darks, you put a lovely dark in there. And if I wanted to, you see, if I thought, oh, well, that's not dark enough, that I could darken. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm off the page. I'll just go back a bit. I'm on there. I'm on there. If this one here, if I wanted to go and darken this a little bit more and put a bit more oomph into it, I could even just go that and put it really clumpy and put some shadow on the bottom of this thing here, because it's close to us, isn't it? Now, I'd like you to put comments on the end, and if there's something you want to cover and stuff like that. I think what I'm going to try and do is, this is a lesson that's just on how to mix bits of colour and stuff like that. I'll put it on top of the palette because it's, you know what, the palette now, it's there. That's what we've done today. And just to recap a little, we did the greens. That was a spring green, and that was cadmium lemon and Winterborough red shade. This was the summer green. That was cadmium yellow and Windsor blue red shade. This was raw sienna and Windsor blue red shade to give you the autumny colour, and then we got the darker stuff, which is puts a bit of burnt umber into there to give you your winter stuff. I mean, I shouldn't do this, but sometimes you can get bogged down and just show you some things that around winter that you get stuff like this, and like a bit of snow on the ground. This stuff. I can't just leave things alone. I'm sorry, but that's the sort of thing to me. And like you can. Let's just have a look at this, if I can do it. I've got a little brush here. See what I can do on this is put something like sort of that shows it stood on the land as opposed to just the sky like that. But you can see this difference in sky colours here, and you can experiment all the time and get some lovely combinations. And you can have a lot of fun if you want to use your chisel brush on it just to mess about. Let's have a look. I'll just pinch a bit of colour on the palette that's left. So here, what we could do is in the distance just depict perhaps a distant church, something like that, you see. And of course it's sticking up right out of the landscape into your picture, isn't it? Anything just breaks it up, and of course you can put some stuff in the foreground here and twiddle it along, bushes and stuff like that. I don't know if I've got any bush stuff here. Yeah, put a touch of that browny stuff on there in the foreground and just. I don't know if I've got any green left. I'll see if I've got a piece of green left. Try a touch of that. It's not the right green for. Just touch on this one here. And just do something like that. And I'm doing it again. But take the brush off me. I'll just have another. It's nice to see on that one. I'll have a bit of this dark stuff here. Pinch that. Then we'll do. If they've got a tree in the garden. And always paint them upwards, because what you have a tendency to pull the brush off so it gets thinner at the top, which it should do. If you paint them down, you'll find out that the top is thicker than the bottom. So start down and flick them up. Put another one in there. Well, you bet that one if you like. It's just what you like to do, and I love people to experiment in that. It's so good because they're their own thing, and I hope that some of you beginners are getting something out of these things, because there's some lovely experienced painters join me on these things, and a bit bored with these things, I suppose, but it does help the beginner. This. In fact, what I could do with this is just and if you wanted to, you could just do this sort of thing, dry brush technique around the top of the bush. Just pinch a touch of that. I am fiddling. I'm going to stop. So, folks, well, that's all on this colour mixing session I was doing with you, and I hope you've enjoyed it and picked something up from it. From the pantile roofs to the doors with colour, to the tan sails and the white sails, and even the suggestion of waves formations and stuff like that. Distant landscapes, clouds, skies, that house is just and of course distant mountains and stuff that's more stronger in the foreground here. There's another sky there without using that cobalt and that. I haven't developed that. I feel like developing it now. But that's another section, and then of course brickwork, and that's it. We've tried to cover all this on this painting session, and I say I'm putting you the list of colours. I'll put you a list of my palette on the end of this video, and also the list of colours we've been talking about, so you can try them and add them too. And if you find things that you mix something on your palette, you think, oh, that looks like Fred Dibble's barn there. I'll remember that colour because that's the colour I want to paint. Write it down and remember it, and then next time you come to see Fred Dibble's farm, you'll have the painting ready mixed, all that, and it's in the memory. You can't remember them all. You have to write them down, and that's the way to do it. So until next time, folks, it's goodbye for today. We've had a little good session, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And please subscribe, or tell your friends to subscribe, and we'll build this together. Okay? Goodbye, folks. See you next time. Bye-bye.